At this point, I want to introduce a gentleman who I have a lot of respect for. He is the CEO of Expert Marketing. I've been trying to beg him to tell his Wells Fargo story, but this guy is just amazing. He's saved an incredible amount of money for Wells Fargo. And David, without any further ado, I'd like to bring you up to speak to all of us today about how can we increase, right, that income. Is that true? Is that what we're going to talk about? Okay, so we're happy to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. David Earl Spencer. And sorry for the hesitation.
Thank you very much, Tyrone. I was very excited when Tyrone Cozy invited me here on behalf of First American to share with you a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's marketing. In the next 15 minutes, you will learn how to increase your listings by 40% by maximizing technology and resources that you already have. Does that sound good? Yes. All right. In our time together, we'll look at three main points: focus, drive, and automation. Point number one is focus. Now, the Webster's Dictionary defines focus as the ability to concentrate. So the question is, what do you concentrate on? What's your focus? I want you to focus on what's profitable. I'm going to just let that marinate for a second. I want you to focus on what's profitable. Now, I guarantee you that if you dedicate 80% of your time, your working time, on profitable activities, that you will increase your business, your revenue, your profits exponentially, even doubling them. Now, it's extremely critical for you to differentiate important activities from profitable activities, okay? And we'll talk about that in just a moment. So first, let's look at an example. I was sharing this concept with a realtist friend of mine in Richmond, California, and I was explaining to him some of the important activities, and he stopped me. He said, "No, David, these are profitable activities in my business." And he was absolutely right. So I'm going to use a little simple example, and then we'll relate it to your business. So let's suppose that you sell shoes at the mall. So you're a salesperson at the mall. You sell shoes. There, you have many responsibilities in this job title. You have to sell shoes, but you have to receive shoes, sort, pack, rack, ship. You have to greet customers, right? Now, let me ask you a question. What of these activities are profitable and what are important? Selling shoes, okay. Now, oh, that's right, selling shoes. What about stacking shoes? Important but not profitable. What about racking shoes? Okay, well, okay. You guys are sharp. The earlier group didn't get it this fast. No, and that's absolutely right. So now, suppose you have a coworker. This guy, his name's Fred. Now, Fred sells a lot of shoes, but some of your coworkers aren't really happy with Fred because Fred doesn't stack shoes. He doesn't rack shoes. In fact, at the weekly sales meeting, he's not even there because he's out selling shoes. And some of your coworkers are complaining to the manager, Fred never stacks shoes like the rest of us. Every time a customer walks in, he runs to the front. Now, is stacking shoes important here? No. I hear some yes, I hear some no. Yeah. Is it important? Well, let me ask another way. Is stacking shoes profitable? No. Is stacking shoes important? Yes. You bet it is. Exactly. It's part of the sales process. You can't sell the shoe unless you receive it, stack it, rack it, pack it. It's quite all right. I like that. That's passion. But if the guy is a top seller, I'm pretty sure the manager is not going to fire him just because. That's exactly right. If the guy's a top seller, he won't be fired. Forget stacking the shoes. Let somebody else do it. Fred gets it. He's focused on what's profitable. Okay, what about you? What are you focused on? How many joke emails do you reply to? Do you remember when I said that it's extremely critical to differentiate between what's profitable and what's important? Yes. So what are the profitable activities in your business? What about sending out postcards to clients? What about listing a home? What about showing a home? You see, the point here is that there's no magic bullet. You're the expert in your business. It's up to you to identify those profitable activities and those important activities. What about paperwork? W-2s, following up with check stubs. What you have to do is take those important activities and delegate those to someone who's competent and capable. And you focus your time on profitable activities. So I have a homework assignment for you. Now, forgive me because I grew up, both my parents were school teachers, and I did a lot of homework. So your homework assignment, should you choose to accept it, is to take a sheet of paper and put 2 columns down. Column 1, I want you to label that daily activities. Column 2, label that profitable activities. And column 3, what's column 3? Thank you, important activities. So I want you to list all the things that you do on a daily basis under daily activities. Then from that list, I want you to pull out those things that are profitable and put them under column 2. Same thing with what's important under column 3. Now, column 2, your profitable activities, that's your to-do list. That's what you focus your time on, profitable activities. Now, for option 3, or column 3, you have 2 options. Now, this is, at the top it says what? Important activities. So you're going to give that sheet to your most competent and capable support staff. That's their to-do list. Now, they know it's important because it says important activities right on the top, right? Or option 2, you don't have support staff. So this list becomes your after-hours to-do list. Either way, you spend your time on profitable activities. Do you think that might help you focus on what's profitable in your business? Yes. Great. That's point number 1. Focus on profitable activities and delegate important activities. Point number 2 is drive. Now, I don't mean your SUV. I'm talking about your USP, your unique selling position. Drive your unique selling position. You must know what makes you special. You have to be able to communicate that to your clients within 30 seconds or less. Why 30 seconds? Because that's all you may have to make an impression. Now, you may talk to your prospect for 30 minutes, but they decided in 30 seconds whether they were going to do business with you or not. Am I right? I mean, because you do it too. I do. So he keeps talking. Right? Am I right? 30 seconds. You need to know what your unique selling position is. And let's face it, there's a lot of competition. I mean, earlier, 1 in every 52 Californians has a license? That means 1, 2, 3. I mean, and, you know, interest rates are still high. Home prices are high. There's a lot of competition. How do you compete? Have you ever met a mechanic or school teacher or bus driver who told you proudly, I sell real estate? Oh, yeah. Now, these are fine people with dignified professions, but in regards to selling real estate, we call them weekend wannabes, okay? But how do you compete? How do you convince your prospect to do business with you instead of her boyfriend's sister's mama, who's a hairdresser, by the way, and sells real estate on the weekend? How do you convince them? You have to have a unique selling position. Now, for example, say you know everything there is to know about condos. That should be your unique selling position. It doesn't mean that you stop selling duplexes and single-family homes. But if you know everything there is to know about condos, then people will seek you out when they're ready to buy a condo because they know that you know everything there is to know about condos. That's what a unique selling position is. You have to have one. If you don't know what makes you special, no one else will. Now, let's try a little experiment. Well, not experiment, a little exercise. That's better, a little exercise. I want you to partner up with the person next to you. Don't look at me, look at the person next to you. Now, when I say go, now one of you is going to speak first. Wait, who's going to speak first? You decide who's going to speak first. Okay. Now, when I say go, you're going to drive your unique selling position. You only have 10 seconds. Okay? Now, there's one rule. The person who's listening, you can't be thinking about what you're going to say. You have to give them your undivided attention. Go. Okay, time's up. Stop. Good. This is good. But stop. Okay, now switch. It's your partner's turn. Go. Okay, stop. That was excellent. That was great, actually. I can see a lot of you are getting it. A few of you still need to tweak, maybe fine-tune your USP a little bit, but you're getting it. That's excellent. That's point number 2, your unique selling position. I'm sorry. That's point number 1, unique selling position. Drive. That's point number 2. You have to drive your unique selling position. And my last point is automation. Now, once you're focused on your profitable activities and you're driving your unique selling position, then it's important to automate your sales efforts. Okay? Now, we all know email, we all know voicemail, fax back, and all these things. But most of us use email every day, but we're not using it to its full capacity. You're already familiar with automatic email, the power of that. You go to a website, enter your information, and boom, instantly, you get an email back with the information that you requested, right? That's the power of automation. You should be using that. I know a few of you are. I've talked to some of you, but most of you are not. Now imagine that every time you talk to a prospect, you ask for permission, because there's no spam, okay? You ask for permission to keep them informed about changes in the real estate market. Then you input their contact information into Outlook, and Outlook automatically sends them specific emails every 21 days, or however you select. What could that do for your business? Remind a client to send that referral that they promised? Remind that person who said they were thinking about selling their home about your unique selling position? You tell me. There's so many systems out there. There's just one more I'll share with you that I have time today. That's voice broadcast. Now, I'm not talking about the auto dialers you may have heard about, but I'm talking about voice broadcasting that will send your personalized message to the individual that you're trying to reach. Let me ask a question. If you make 10 phone calls today, how many times will you reach a live person versus a voicemail? 7 times. I hear 3, 1, 8. So you're getting voicemail anyway, right? Well, if you're making 20 calls a day and you're getting voicemail, why not have a machine make 200 calls a day for you? It's still your voice, still your personal message. I'm not talking about spam. I'm not talking about people that you don't know. I'm talking about within your sphere of influence. Exactly. Of course, not the do not call list. No spam, no do not call list. I'm talking about using it efficiently within your book. How many have 300 business cards in your drawer right now? Okay, so you have a list to call, and we'll work through that. So if you can make 200 calls a day, what would that do for your business when you're making 20 calls now? Is 20 calls generous? Okay. Well, and that's all I have time to share today, but I'd like to share more of these technologies with you. My brochure is on your chair. You can email me. I'll send you the list of these technologies free. Just pick up my brochure and send me an email. So in closing, I want to remind you to focus on what's profitable, drive your unique selling position, and automate your sales efforts. Thank you for your time.
We have more of these. If you don't have one, we have some up here, so feel free to come and get it if you like. So right now we'd like to invite up our last speaker, and we save him for last because he's talking about something I think really will impact your business, because we all know that credit is always a concern and an issue. Jonathan is the Director of Client Relations for Credco. I'll let him go into more detail about that. But pay close attention, please, to this, because I think you'll find that there's a lot of excellent information that can help those clients. So instead of you putting them on the back burner, you can bring them up from the back burner to the front and help them realize their dream of home ownership. So, Mr. Jonathan Johnson.
If I could see a show of hands again, how many of you in the room have heard of First American Credco? See, that's really surprising to me, because First American Credco processes 1 out of every 3 credit reports used in the mortgage industry today. So again, it's really surprising to see that there's just so few of you that have heard of us. What I'm going to be talking about is First American Credco's Anthem product. Anthem is an acronym. It stands for Assisting Non-Traditional Home Buyers in Emerging Markets. I think it was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, First American announced an initiative to substantially increase home ownership for the underserved consumer and their families who are in the low to moderate income communities. Part of that initiative was to introduce an alternative credit product that was designed specifically to allow grade A mortgage financing available for underserved consumers who previously did not qualify due to traditional credit scoring systems. With First American's Anthem product, we believe that it addresses that need. The Anthem suite of services basically expands business opportunities, reduces risks for the credit grantor, and streamlines the underwriting process. Barriers to home ownership. Basically, that falls on both sides of the fence, the consumer as well as the industry. The consumer is not educated about credit. I've been with First American Credco for 8 years, and it wasn't until maybe 5 or 6 years ago I actually decided to see what my own credit report looked like. And I speak to clients every day about credit. I'm in meetings all day about credit, and I had never looked at my credit report. How'd you buy a house? Industry barriers to providing the best credit. Again, the non-traditional credit underwriting is not well understood. What will help knock down those barriers? Again, it's education, both for the consumer as well as the industry. And the industry should also recognize that there is business value to these non-traditional credit consumers. You heard Tyrone mention earlier that within the next decade, 60% of first-time home buyers will be that multicultural consumer. And also, our technology enhancements needs to address those consumers as well and meet their needs. So an overview for the Anthem suite of services, basically it's a multitude of First American Credco products. And they're packaged in a suite, and then for the Anthem product, basically it starts off with the credit report, of course. And then we supplement other First American products on top of that, which I'll go into. The Instant Merge credit report is the core product for First American Credco. Basically, when a credit grantor orders a credit report, we go out to each of the 3 national bureaus. And then using our patented merge logic system, we then merge all of that information into one easy-to-read report, deduping and eliminating any redundancies within the credit report. ITIN notification, which is the individual taxpayer identification number, can also be utilized to order the credit report as opposed to using the consumer's social security number if they do not have one. Advisory. Advisory is a proactive notification to the credit grantor when they pull an instant merge report that lets them know or guides them that that instant merge may qualify to do an Anthem report. They're basically taking the guessing work out of the equation. And the advisory can also be customized based on the lender's requirements, perhaps to notify their loan officers or advise them what steps they need to take next. Rapid Recheck is our enhanced file maintenance product. With the Rapid Recheck product, basically what we are doing is if the consumer has trade lines that needs to be updated at the bureau level, we can do that for the consumer, provided we get supporting documentation from the consumer that's verifiable. We then go to the bureaus to get that updated. Typically, if a consumer was trying to do this on their own, it would require at least 30 days before the bureaus would respond back to them. With our long-standing partnership relationship with the credit bureaus, we can usually get a response back within 5 to 7 business days. So the Anthem report basically, as I said, starts off always with an instant merge credit report. And what we're then doing is if that instant merge is a thin file or no file, we will then take additional information from the consumer such as rent, utility, phone bills, gas, insurance premiums, revolving credits such as Macy's or Sears, and we will supplement that onto the credit report. In effect, we are building a brand new credit report using non-traditional credit data. The Anthem score, this is returned with every Anthem report. The Anthem score basically was designed to assist the credit grantor in assessing the payment history of that consumer by identifying the length of payment and the types of payment. Consumer assistance and consumer dispute services, 2 unique services of First American Credit Co. Through consumer assistance, basically what we are doing is we will educate the consumer on their credit report and the information contained within it. With consumer disputes, if there's information within the credit report that the consumer would like us to, basically we become the one call center for the consumer. If the consumer would like to dispute any information on the credit report, other credit reporting agencies typically would tell the consumer to call each of the bureaus and dispute all the trade lines. We become that single point of contact for the consumer, and we'll do it on their behalf. First American Credit Co. is the only credit reporting agencies that offers that service. And for both services, we do not charge the consumer. So basically, in summary of the Anthem services, it's designed to, again, bring value to the multicultural consumer, expand the relationship of the lender with that consumer, as well as what was the third piece I wanted to touch on? Again, as far as the technology, making them aware that the technology needs to be updated to better work with those consumers as well. So again, I'm just going to jump through a lot of this here, but with First American Credit Co., basically, yes, we are a credit reporting agency, but we're much more than that. We're a solutions provider. So I wanted to thank you all for having me to present in front of you.
So we're going to take 2 quick questions before you leave. We're going to have a quiz. Yes, sir.
Do all banks accept this new score?
For the